Hey guys, Ben Lau here. So a couple of months ago, I had a student who was getting started in her photography business. The good news is that she hit the ground running and she's getting a ton of clients and a ton of work. But the problem was that she hadn't really figured out her editing style just yet. And to be quite honest, her editing was a little bit all over the board. So she shared with me that her editing was not really her strong point, and that all these resources that she found online weren't really all that helpful. So for her, it was just super duper complicated, and she didn't really have a whole lot of time to figure this part out because she now had a ton of clients who were now waiting on her photos. So I introduced her to presets just to get her going in the right direction. It's a little bit of a shortcut, but as many of you guys know, presets are generally, they're okay, right? They'll get you to about maybe 80 or 90% of the way there. You still have to tweak the preset to really get it to where you want it to be. White balance might be a little off and the exposures might be a little off. There's still a lot of things that you got to fix, right? But at least I got her going in the right direction. So she then comes back to me a little while later and she tells me that she's not getting her photos to look as consistent as she wants them to look, right? Some photos are a little warmer than others. Some are still a little bit darker than others. And the other thing was, the photography thing was just her side gig, right? She couldn't be spending every waking moment trying to figure this thing out. Although if she's looking to stay in this line of work as a professional photographer, she really should try to figure this part out. So I told her that she can go ahead and try an AI editing software like ImagenAI to handle that problem for her. But the problem that she had was that she didn't have a couple of thousand photos to feed the algorithm. It's a learning program, so it needs data in order for it to work. So for all intents and purposes, this was another dead end for her, until recently. So ImagenAI recently rolled out their Lite profile AI, which only needs your preset and maybe a couple of images to build you a custom profile. And it's perfect for someone like my student who had a whole lot of editing to do, but not a whole lot of time to figure this part out. So I created this video to show my students exactly how easy this process is, and hopefully you guys will find it to be pretty easy and useful too. If you're like most wedding photographers, editing is probably not your strong suit. You're probably really good at shooting, but editing is, not your forte. So for a lot of us, this is where presets come in handy. We might go out there to Maston Labs, or if you're really old like me, Visco was around for a little while. Develop is also another one. You can get presets pretty much anywhere in the universe. And usually the presets will get us to anywhere between 70 to 80%. All right. There's still a little bit of tweaking that's involved even after you apply the preset. And that's where ImagenAI comes in and kind of helps us out with some of the other things like, white balancing and fixing your exposure and things like that. Okay. But in any case, the preset that I've been using for the last 12, 13 years has been a Portra 800 based type of preset. Okay. And you can get that anywhere out there. So for this example, we're going to use one that's from Maston Labs for the Nikon system, which is the base of the profile that I currently use. So for this example, we're just going to import 15 or so images, see what the system does. And the first thing that you want to do is go into the dashboard and click Add a Profile. And what you're going to see is an option that says Lite Personal AI Profile. And click on that and then enter the name of the profile. We'll just call this Test 3. This is my third test today. And then we're going to import that preset that I just put on my desktop. And then once I do that, it's going to ask me a series of questions. How do I like my exposure? How do I like my white balancing? And I just go through the prompts. This part should only take a couple of minutes, maybe even less. This looks good. That looks good. All right, then we're going to build our profile. And I was told that this part doesn't take too long. And it looks like that's all true. All right, the profile is done. And this is mostly for weddings. Then it's going to tell me to go find that catalog. We're going to open that catalog, get those 15 images, give it a name, and let it go to work. And this part should take a couple of minutes. All right, so the images are uploading, they're editing, and it looks like it's also backing up the images onto their servers. It's another feature that ImagenAI is rolling out in the near future. We'll talk about that in a future video. While the robots are busy at work, you can go ahead and make yourself a cup of tea, go to the bathroom, whatever you want to do. Come back in a few minutes, and it should be ready to go. All right, it looks like it's ready to rock and roll. So we click on Download to Review and open up the catalog, and we'll see what the program did for us. All right, let's go into Library View. Looks pretty good, okay? For those of you guys who don't know, the Portra 800 is a slightly warmer profile, but because of, the little customization things that we did prior to importing all these images, it did cool down a lot of these images for me. These are pretty close to where we want it, all right? These are about 90% there. There's still a little bit of tweaking that we need to do, not because of what the AI did wrong. For instance, this photo, the bride's face is a little bit on the darker side. We'll need a little bit of local adjustments there. That shouldn't take too long. From an exposure standpoint, these look pretty close to where we want them to be. Some tweaks here and there. Remember, no preset's going to be perfect. Even a human editor is not going to get you to 100%. But this AI got us pretty darn close, got us to about 90%. So as I'm going through these to, do a couple of my tweaks here and there, we're not off by a lot, all right? Maybe 1 or 2 clicks on my loop deck just to cool it down just a little bit. But overall, I'm pretty happy with these edits. The exposures are right where we want them to be. And I think we're good to go. And what you want to do is, after you have all these edits done, what you want to do is save all the metadata and feed this back into the algorithm, okay? Because the thing is, this AI is learning from what you're trying to do. And instead of you having to feed them 3,000 images, even with these 15 images, it should have enough information to do a better job for you for the next project. And then you're done, all right? Easy as that. Would this be useful for someone like me who already has a style dialed in? Probably not. I've been shooting for 13 plus years. I've got more than a few thousand photos that I can feed into the algorithm. But for someone who's just getting started, and maybe they're trying to find their own voice and their own colors when it comes to their work, this could be a real game changer for them until they can get to a couple thousand images. But then again, once they get to several thousand images, their profile could already be pretty dialed in by that point. But anyway, give it a shot and let me know what you guys think. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.